Hey everybody, Steve Biederman. I'm with a guest today. I'll introduce him in a minute. It's November 3rd. We're already almost towards the end of the year now in 2023. I am pumped about today, and I hope you're going to be pumped too, because usually it's just me talking to you about lessons I've learned in no particular order in my career. And I hope that helps, especially for entrepreneurs that are experiencing a lot of things that are for the first time, and things that maybe I've done that can help you. I, though, was meeting with this gentleman, and I went to their office in Kansas City, and I learned that he not only was he running this company, but he was an author, and his experience was so detailed in terms of a lot of different jobs, like we've all had. Uh, and I was struck by the fact when I started looking at one of his books, which was Marketing from the Trenches, from Trenches to Triumphs, that he learned from each particular job. And that instead of us just going through jobs, dealing with the job, getting to the next job, wondering when it's going to work for us and when we can turn that into anything at all, or when's the spotlight going to shine on us, he did it differently, I think. Although he did that too, he also seemed to take specific lessons from each job that he had. And I was kind of thinking that's remarkable. And I was actually thinking, this guy needs to have a podcast of his own where he can talk about lessons he's learned. But whereas mine are in no particular order, his were in order. It was from what did he learn when he started? What did he learn with each job? And you'll see it got him, he's running companies, and he's an author. So with that, I'm going to introduce Rudy Waldner to you. Love the guy. You're going to love him too. But I really, more than love or anything else, I think hopefully this conversation will help you all in what you're trying to pull off yourself. So, hey, Rudy, good to meet you. See you.
Good morning. Great to be seen.
Yeah, well, thanks. Thanks for joining. I do think it would be, people are going to learn that you having your own podcast might be a really important thing for them. But I'm going to jump right in, Rudy, to a few questions, and then let's just chat it up and we'll talk about it.
Great.
First, I was referring to the fact that you've had all these different jobs. You were a caterer, you were in a car wash, different things that you were doing. And I'm so amazed at the lessons you got from it. Talk about some of the different, I'm just curious, the list of jobs that you've had in your life.
Jeez. So my family had a delicatessen in New York. So that's how I came up, right? So 14 years old, you're behind a counter. There's 10 angry New Yorkers waiting on coffee. I mean, that was quite an education right there. Yeah. And then the car wash, I always had two jobs until I left New York, right? So those secondary jobs, like a weekend job, I'd be a bartender or work in a cafe, or the car wash thing.
Yeah.
Then my first real job was with Warner Publisher Services. So that was in magazine distribution. Then video rental, so the multi-unit management, that's how that started. Then I went with Blockbuster to Germany, back to the States with another video company, and then retail finance, multi-unit retail finance. And once I got into that, I bounced between marketing and ops constantly because I love marketing. But if the people behind the counter don't do what you're suggesting, it doesn't work. Right. So then I go back into ops, make it happen. Well, everything I had just created.
And that's a key piece, by the way, I think, in one of the lessons in your book, which is the people, and you talk a lot about the people. Hey, you mentioned car wash, but what I thought was interesting is you said, well, we had the deli, and then I did the car wash, and then I had my first real job. Except in your book, you recognized something in the car wash that was critical to you. Do you remember that story? Can you tell us?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it starts off with, I was having a hangover. I really think I wrote that.
Yeah.
And it was this bomb of a car came in, and I got lost in my work. I was vacuuming at this big yellow Cadillac, and sweating, wearing an orange jumpsuit. But when I got done, the guy whose car it was, the guy couldn't stop smiling. I made his day, at least, if not his week. And that's when I realized that what the customer felt was a huge thing in success in business.
And how old were you when you got that?
Oh, teens, mid-teens,
really? Amazing,
something like that.
So you're doing this, and it sucks. It's a hard job. It's a hard job, but at the same time, that's, in a way, that's your tip. The tip you really got was this lesson that it's about how the customer feels, and the outcome you got was better than any $5 that somebody could have handed you, it sounds like to me. You also talked in your book about branding, and you were talking, if I remember, about getting ready for a date, and between you getting ready for the date and the time that you got to the date, you had passed all this different input hitting you about different just brands, and advertising, and you had an opinion about it. Talk about that.
Okay, it's not a great opinion, but it's called, it's called clutter, right? Everywhere you look, you're seeing something. You hear a radio ad, a TV ad, a shelf talker in a supermarket, the cart ad, so the advertisement on the cart, the ceiling, there's ads on the ceiling, on the floor. It never ends. The intercom in the supermarket having another deal. It's clutter, and you can't hear it anymore. And we're 4% of the world's population, yet we're exposed to 70% of the advertising media. You drown in that. You drown in that.
That's incredible. I'll tell you, I have a mixed feeling about that, and I think that, like you, we all get just almost just numb to all that's hitting us. But I've also learned something about it in business, and I have different ideas about this. On a personal basis, I don't like ads, right? On a personal basis, I make sure I don't watch anything on television live so that I can get through all the advertisements. So really, I actually make an effort to avoid that. Now, as a businessman, I've built a successful business after business based upon an approach to marketing that is about building almost an engine, call it a lead generation engine, where I'm layering in tactics, and almost any tactic is okay if it's repeatable and sustainable and affordable. So we are constantly building. I think of it as this ball that keeps getting bigger, and I'm building these tactics. And what it does, and people will see it like at NobleBiz when they're on, like, LinkedIn, for an example, as we are now, we're constantly out there. So we're doing everything, in a sense, that you wrote about. That's like, I am so sick of seeing all this stuff. I'm numb to you. And it made me start wondering, although it's worked for my business, if my own market is numb to us. And I thought it was a really powerful thing that you said that, because we live in these sort of silos between what we like versus what we do. And oftentimes we'll say in business, well, yeah, I don't like you and I were in contact center space. And it's like, yeah, I don't like getting contacted by contact centers, but that's how I make my living. So I do it. We make tech for contact centers, and we go, look, we manufacture the guns, but we don't shoot them. Rudy shoots them. Well, listen, you talked about this idea of trench marketing. Specifically your term trench marketing, and it was kind of like what I just said in some ways, which is it's everything you can do to grow your business. And you underline the word I. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Give me some thoughts on that.
Yeah, because often if you want to grow a business, you hire an advertising agency, you hire a marketer. And that's great depending on where you are in the business's life cycle. But in the beginning, at least it used to be, door to door. Who's your business neighbors? And specifically in retail, what stores are on your block? What stores are in your trade area? Where do your customers reside? And that's how you market. Simple stuff like door hangers from way back when, right? So that's what I think.
And also, I remember you were talking about sharing. Like we have things in common with our customers and things. Like I think you said something about we can share our customer list with each other. We can do things like, in fact, I'll tell the audience, Rudy's company and my company, so Rudy's a client of ours at NobleBiz, and we share marketing. So we show up at the same trade shows together in the same booth. We share the relationships. We talk about what we can do because we, as I said, we're strong in a lot of repeatable tactics in marketing. How can we continue to put they out there? Well, look, that benefits all of us. And that's the power of I, if you ask me, which is if you just do it yourself, first of all you're going to do is paid marketing that way, right?
Right.
And actually, I think that's what you were sort of resenting as you were walking to your date, seeing all these signs and brands, which is everybody's paying to get pop in front of you. Nobody's giving me anything valuable. They're just giving me a picture. There's just a tagline. And I think that's part of the problem, if you ask me. And you also talked about cleanliness and precision. That is a baseline for me.
Thank you. Cleanliness equals credibility. Whatever business you're in, if the place is a dump, if the desk is a mess, right away, I think your bargaining position is stronger.
Yeah.
Right.
You talk about it specific. You had this job, or you had taken on management where you had walked in and you were like picking almost. I think your staff saw you as kind of picking at things, and you ended up you realized I think what I got out of it anyway was you can do it all. You can keep cleaning everybody's desk and everything around, or you can change the culture. And how hard is that to change a culture into recognizing that type of thing counts?
So yeah. So when you inherit a staff, it's different than when you build it, right? When you build it from scratch. And that's one of the, I don't like micromanagement at all, but till this day, associate manager and up, I do the interviews. I pick everyone on the team. And I don't, my crazy interview questions are in the book somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's because I don't care what you did. And it ends up, ironically or not, that most everyone in upper management worked behind a counter in hospitality because you got that energy. You're used to that immediate gratification. So you hustle till it gets done, till somebody's smiling. And that's what I look for: enthusiasm and can I trust you?
Yeah, that's a specific section in your book about hiring enthusiastic people. Honestly, you had that list, and none of the questions were about their experience. We usually interview their experience, and you're saying, look, we'll teach you the job. That's what I got out of it. But I can't teach you who you are. and who you are is about enthusiasm. And are you going to be passionate with me? And are you trained? Can I teach you what some of the important things? Can I mentor you? You said earlier you don't like micromanagement, and there's micromanagement, and then there's coaching and mentoring,
right?
And they're different, but they can mimic each other sometimes, right? If I'm overly mentoring you per se, then I'm really just using that as an excuse to micromanage you. And I'm pretending I'm just like, a coach. I'm just coaching you. I'm just giving you that information. Do what you want with it. But I do think we have to learn in business the difference in that. And when you have really enthusiastic people, it's everything. I want to tell you something. We are hiring somebody new in our sales department for sales. And when Christian and I, who is like the COO of the company, he and I are interviewing this person. And by the time it got to us, everybody else had said, great. But oftentimes we're like really critical, not critical, but intense. And we could almost not ask too many questions, because the guy that we interviewed was so enthusiastic. It was like exactly from your book. It was like he was just passion and energy and a positive intensity. And about 5 minutes, maybe 5 into it, I said, hey, guy, I got nothing else to ask you. I'm in. I'm all in on you. And Christian said the same thing. And so we said he has to now go back, because we're not actually making the decision. The head of sales is making the decision. And we said, hey, we'll give you our recommendation. Now, now it's on you. Go make sure the sales manager feels the same way. And just be yourself, because just that enthusiasm is going to solve 9/10 of the problem, if you ask me.
Agreed.
Are you hiring like that at Centronex?
Yeah, we don't hire. Operations for sure is all internal. Other departments as well, but it seems just recently, but we just hired a talent acquisition, so a recruiter. Mm-hmm. And even the CEO was like, man, she fits right in, because she just came in with such freaking energy. Yeah. Always thinking of another solution, another plan. Let's try this. So yeah, she fit right in.
This thinking about another solution, another plan. And I think the audience needs to understand, we don't know any more than anybody else, because we run an operation. We're just looking to what's next. It's more of how do we think? How do we get to a decision? And usually that comes with enthusiasm. It almost never comes with depression. It almost never comes with negativity. And it almost never comes in a messy, dirty environment. And I just want to hear you explain to the people why keeping something clean, fresh, sense, you talked about all the senses count, and why that's important. Convince the audience why that's important.
So for the cleanliness right away, it shows pride of ownership, right? That can't be a negotiable. You have to give a crap of what your desk looks like, or the front doors, right? So yes. The operations teams at the contact center, Centronex, where's that thing? This side. Every day, every ops team cleans every glass door. Every day. Yes. And then the HR team cleans the front desk area. I mean, every day, everyone gives a crap and cleans.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
More than cleanliness equals credibility. It shows you give a crap. And also, like, I remember when I got overwhelmed and I was thinking at my desk, I'd mop the floor. or something in a different business, right? Because that also gives you a chance to think of something else while you're doing this kind of work.
Yes.
Right? And also a little trick, I don't know if I played it on you, but if a client was coming in or a partner like yourself was coming in, I time it that the front doors were getting cleaned, because that right away impresses, right? So the cleanliness, to me, it's such a big deal. Yeah. And then the other senses, we said, like the smell, right? Floral smell. What's that brand? Sony. When you walk into a Sony store, right? Every time you open the door, they spray vanilla, because it makes it a better experience. I always like background music that's appropriate, please.
Yeah.
And what are the handshake for the feel? Which sense am I missing?
I think touch, smell. So
touch,
you have
the
touch, smell, the visual.
Oh yeah, so the visual, that goes with the cleanliness, right?
Yeah.
And then all the colors I spoke about.
And feel. You would have
feel. The handshake is such a big deal.
Yeah.
Post-COVID and pre-COVID.
But I think it's a baseline. I'm right with you on that. And I was thinking of things in my own experience. So I'm starting this business, and it was just two of us, and we were absolutely poor as hell. That business grew into a world leader, but we didn't have a clue how, that wasn't on our agenda. We were just trying to figure out how to get enough money to put another piece of drywall up. So I would get so nervous, and I'm scared. We didn't have money, and how do I pay people? And every night I would vacuum, but everybody's gone, and I would just vacuum. And by the way, we had people cleaning. It didn't matter. I was vacuuming. It just somehow settled me. And my own OCD, I thought of it at the time, wanted everything clean. But I actually think that even though we had this office that didn't have all the drywall up, that was kind of, rough, it was really, really clean. And I think I felt like it allowed everybody to be able to see what is good, not what isn't, by coming in every day and having us recognizing there's some pride in whatever our environment is, however we live. We don't have to be fancy, but we have to care enough to keep it clean. Well, an interesting outcome, though, is one day my partner said, this girl running our support, so she is very important to us, that she's leaving. And I said, what? Why? I mean, we're desperate for her. She said, I can't stand that every morning I come in and my desk is all organized. Because I would see desks that were out of order, and I would organize them, right? And I was so tense and worried, I wasn't even really thinking. It wasn't about her desk or that guy's desk. It was just, I was just getting everything right, organized. And I realized that I have to draw a line between cleanliness and obsessiveness. And but I just want to tell you that I never did. I always hell with it. I believe when everybody walks in the morning, seeing sunshine, clean windows, seeing everything you talked about is important. And I think that's a key reason why we went from a struggling small operation to a world leader with 6 global offices. It's because how we did things counted. And you just underlined that. I really want everybody to honestly, you got to get this book. It's 88 pages on Kindle. I mean, it's not going to take you much time, but it's going to be so powerful to you, because it's powerful to me, and I've been doing this for decades and decades and decades. So I didn't have this when I was coming up. And I was trying to figure out, what the hell do I do? And you'll realize, I think, as an audience, that what Rudy's talking about and what they do at CentroNext is really your roadmap. And the roadmap isn't fancy, it's not nuanced, and it's straightforward. It's what, in a sense, I said to Rudy when we got on the call. I said, to me, what you're talking about is very common sense. Now, common sense is common only to each person. So this will give you kind of a roadmap of how you should take on these key pieces. Do these, if you just follow what he's saying, and you can do it simply, it's an attitude. You're gonna have such a good foundation and feel so good every day, and you're gonna have, like Rudy talks about, employees. Well, when he was catering, how he worked, I think 24 hours or 36 hours. What was that story? Do you remember that story?
Yeah, it's just I started slicing on the deli slicer, and preparing for catering and normal business at the same time. Then the guy from the night shift didn't show up. Yeah. So I stayed the night shift, preparing. And then the next morning were pickups. So it was over 30 hours. Got through it, slept 12 hours afterwards, but that was rough.
Yeah, but what the outcome was, you were ready for the customers when they were ready.
That's right.
The customers count. It's like you're putting the customers ahead of you, is what you're doing. And I think that's the key. I know a lot of businesses that say they do that, and I know few that actually do that, because most businesses get caught up in what their rules are and how they feel. And I think kind of the rhythm I get from your book is, when you're saying you're hiring enthusiastic people and you care about what TV show they watch, you care about the movies they're seeing, you care about them, and you're seeing how interested in their own life they are. I think that you get those kind of people, and you talk to them and you say, look, the customer is really the point of what we're doing here. And they get it. And they're going to get it because of how they feel. And how they feel to you, for sure. And that the customer is going to get it when they meet those people, because they're going to feel pumped up and excited. And then you're tying in how clean it is, and how it smells, and how your business, all senses count. And and the willingness to give the effort, and even if it requires you breaking your processes. And that's where businesses, I think, get it wrong. They build such strict process that they forget that the only reason they ever put the process in place in the first place is to satisfy that customer relationship. So if it isn't working for that customer, don't put the process first, which is what we often do. Mm-hmm. The point of what you're writing about. Again, people go back to his book. I'm not going to keep you much longer, but you say, essentially, take care of your employees and they'll take care of your customers. And just kind of summarize all of that for us, and we'll roll on out of here.
I believe a business's greatest asset is the employees, is your team, right? And a lot of times, let me say this, the greatest sin in corporate America is focusing on the non-performers, wasting time, writing up policies for people that aren't going to make it anyway.
Right.
And then when you waste your time on that, your top performers get upset.
Right.
So then they do less. They go back to being like a normal employee, not a rock star. Right. I say, cut the bottom, really, really take care of your top employees, and they'll take care of your business. I mean, really take care of them. I think I said this to you offline, that I believe in underpaying but over bonusing, because with the financial guys, you could at least show, hey, here's why this is why Joey or Susie is making this money, because every month they hit these indicators, and if they don't, then they don't get the full bonus.
Right.
So I truly believe, take really good care of your people.
I love that, Rudy. listen, if I wasn't running this company, I'd be working for you, man. I really appreciate it. Hey, everybody, I hope you can all feel good about what we talked about today, and do go look Rudolph Waldner. Look it up on Kindle. He has other books, and they're common sense, and it's life's experience. And Centronex, by the way, he's president of Centronex, and Centronex is really one of the leading BPOs out there in the world, and it's an important company, and they do a lot of different types of projects, and I hope that that if you need that's where you go, because they're going to keep it clean, keep it passionate, and keep it right. Rudy, thanks, man.
Thank you.
You take care.
You too.